Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Here's video with Fat Phil, and today we have our Sith and Mandalorian faction rating. We're going to dive into our video here, guys. I do want to make a big note that with the coming Leviathan and Malgus ship, this ranking changed from when I had actually first prepared this. So that I do want to make sure that this is, taking into consideration the new ships that are coming and the uses for those characters. So in some cases, characters have moved already on this ranking. In some cases, they have not. You also may be wondering, it's funny, we're getting Malgus bundles all of a sudden. I wonder why that is. You may also be wondering why I did Sith and Mandalorians together. It's because, as my father always loved to remind me growing up, he who has the power makes the rules. So there's a little bit of wisdom for you guys today. Let's dive into our list. But we always got to start it off with our homage to our King Wampa. Guys, Wampa needs Relic 8. He needs it. And he needs you guys to do your part and smash that subscribe button. Leave likes, leave comments, and hit that little notification bell if you guys want to be alerted not only of new videos, but when I do go live. I've done a few live streams recently, been trying to do them. Unfortunately, it's like 10 p.m. Eastern time, but that's just when I have time to stream. Again, he who has the power makes the rules. We're going to dive into our video, guys. Remember, Wampa wants Relic 8. We hit 5,000 subscribers, a special live stream, and I'll try to do that at a time that's more reasonable for everybody, and Wampa will hit Relic 8. So, let's dive in here. Let's talk about our Sith and Mandalorian faction. So, first up on the list, the Sith Assassin. So, she has the least useful ship in the game as of right now. Obviously, she's probably going to be an integral role in the Leviathan fleet, with Darth Revan as the fleet commander. So that's definitely going to change how important she is, that she's going to be part of that fleet, probably somebody who's required for it. But outside of that, there really isn't much use for her, and I felt, especially like right now, that she just has no uses in the game. Now, when that ship comes in, she will definitely move up in terms of her ability, and that's going to completely depend on how important that ship is to the fleet. All right, next we have Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando. They have a decent ship. They have the Mandalorian tag. This is a very interesting faction rating because a lot of these characters, remember guys, I do want to make a note that for this list, I rate characters that are needed for Galactic Legend farms fairly well because in terms of this game, you can go through and play without, like, you don't need Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando to get to 12 million galactic power, right? You do not need them. They're not going to keep you from getting any one character. So they lose that value because these rankings aren't just performance-based, because there's so many of those. This is combining all the aspects of the character and making sure that I'm putting weight behind the fact that you can't get a Galactic Legend without some characters on this list. So keep that in mind. Again, decent ship here. Overall, it's a ship that's important, right? It helps, but it's, there's ways to play without it. All right, Sabine Wren. So coming soon with this new Mandalorian, with the new Krayt Dragon raid, I have a feeling that she'll be pretty decent, right? It's debuff heavy. She's got armor shred. She's got stagger. She's got multiple instances of damage that could be useful in this raid. Again, I don't know for sure, but very curious to see that, coming soon, she may be pretty decent. And again, this is funny. I did not change Sith Assassin. I maybe should have switched this to say coming soon for her. But I did not change most of these title cards for the characters since the news on the Leviathan. All right, next I have Canderous. And I was really struggling with this until I really thought it through. And the fact that Canderous loves Maul. He loves Maul. He likes the Old Republic team as well, but he really needs Maul to get the best uses out of him. That the Old Republic team is okay, but Canderous really wants Maul to do anything in PvP. And to me, that's when I had to drop him. That I think there's much better characters that have a lot more plug and play uses than him. And that kind of kept Sabine down as well, is that she does have two really good tags, but they're ones that right now you're not really missing out on if you're not taking advantage of her. So again, we're going to, keep her down. All right, Darth Maul. And it's funny. So meh ship, right? I'm bashing on another ship that's going to be part of this new Leviathan fleet. but he is a Galactic Legend requirement. Outside of those two things, Maul really struggles. I actually had some niche uses for him in Geonosis TB, where if you could ramp his health, because remember, he's going to gain, I don't know if people really read his kit ever, but he gains 20% max health, or he gains max health equal to 10% of the damage he deals. So in Geonosis territory battles, he's going to be gaining health throughout the entire battle. So if you put him with like a Sith Eternal or Darth Treya, you can really ramp his health to the point that he is pretty thick. Now, again, that's you got to keep him alive and all that other stuff, but I did have some niche uses for him. Bo-Katan Kryze. I really wish she was better. Again, Galactic Legend requirement, but outside of that, I have more uses for her than I do Maul, right? I find more uses for her than I do Maul in the terms of, like, she's a scoundrel, she's got the Mandalorian tag, and in my Maul Mando team, she plays an integral role there because her unique ability is all the survivability for Mandalorians. They gain 20% max protection for each Mandalorian ally until the first time she's defeated, and whenever they attack out of turn, allies recover 8% health and protection. So she's the glue to that Mandalorian team in terms of their survivability, and that's why I love Bo-Katan. I think she's very underrated in that role. However, you take her out of that and she really just struggles. She doesn't have any other uses, at least not that I found. All right, guys, we got my fat take here. I will say this, right? So I have Sidious and Savage Press in the same line item. This list is all pretty decent characters, right? I mean, they're galactic. There's a lot of Galactic Legend Rex on here. There's a lot of really good Sith. What I had to look at here was Savage Press is Omicron dependent, and once you take that Omicron away, he's just an okay character that I kind of find the same usefulness for as Darth Sidious. And when I say that to myself, right, when I sat there and I was thinking, I try not to rate Omicrons. I try not to give them too much benefit of the doubt because, again, it's a single game mode. Now, Savage Press has an amazing Omicron, but when you're Omicron dependent, I can't just say that you're better. That, like, for example, Starkiller. He's very Omicron dependent for both of his game modes compared to somebody like Maul, who has no Omicrons and is very decent with his team in all game modes. So again, that's why I rated Savage lower. And if anybody was wondering, in the terms of like Wampa, where I would put him and Savage Press would be in this same category of just, except that Savage Press isn't a Galactic Legend requirement, so Wampa's gonna move up a tier. That's always my take. And again, the fat take here is that you can get through the game without Savage Press and his Omicron as easily as you can without Darth Sidious. That you're going to be missing Sith Eternal, who is important to your game. And that's kind of how I view Savage Press, that he is important in my GAC. But once I take him out of GAC, I don't really have any uses for him. And that's why it's the fat take here again. They're both pretty decent characters, and I use Darth Sidious. I used him a lot in PvP. He can do really good things with Darth Treya. He's a nice Sith to just bring in as a, sacrifice for Sith Eternal. And then Savage, GAC King, and then outside of that, just garbage. All right, and the next tier above them, we've got Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion. While they're not Galactic Legend requirements, they are two fantastic Sith. I really can't separate them into one or the other. More so because they really both want Treya to get the best use out of them. Nihilus has maybe a little bit more plug and play, but at the same time, Sion's also a tank, which gives him some other niche uses that Nihilus does not have. So I kind of put them together. I think they belong there. They're Sith Lords, both great teams, and they work well with Treya even without her Omicron. So they deserve to be higher on that list. All right, Mando, he's a glass cannon. He really is. And if you guys don't, back at like when this game first launched, glass cannon was such a great catchphrase. Basically just means that they have no health and protection, but they deal a lot of damage, or that they're, he's there to snipe people out, but he has no survivability whatsoever. So Mando, he's very useful. I use him all the time. Every GAC territory war or something, he's getting used. But and he is a requirement for Beskar Armor Mando, so definitely something that I would, give him there. Just I have him a hair above Nihilus and Scion purely because he is a requirement for something. There's not much separating these characters. All right, Sith Trooper is next. People won't like that I rated Savage that low, and that's not bias. Like, I hope you guys know that's not bias. It's just like Sith Trooper here. He's a Galactic Legend requirement, and you're gonna use him with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren in basically every game mode. So Savage Press doesn't get used nearly as much as my Sith Trooper does. Not even close. Like, I will use Sith Trooper in every GAC. I'll use Savage Press in every GAC. But Sith Trooper then gets used in every territory war, every territory battle, conquest, and, Savage Press, not so much. Again, primarily with First Order, I've seen him do some pretty good things with Sith. Overall, he's got a good kit. He can work with Sith, but really you just want him with First Order. That's where his synergy lies. Sith Marauder is next, and I kind of have Sith Marauder, Sith Trooper. I would have them on equal ground if it wasn't for Sith Marauder having a really good ship. So I wanted to rate him a tier above. I'd say Sith Marauder may be a little bit less impactful to a team than Sith Trooper in terms of, like, Sith Trooper with a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is very good. Sith Marauder is decent. He kind of plugs into a couple different Sith teams where you need him. He's a very good damage dealer. To me, it's his ship, and obviously his ship is going to be part of that Leviathan fleet, so definitely someone that I think could only move up higher on the list as time progresses. Count Dooku, I have a tier above Sith Marauder because he's got the Separatist tag. I really can't see why I wouldn't want Dooku higher on the list. I can't have him any higher in my mind. As good as he is, he does get you 2 Galactic Legends, but I think the Admiral Trench team that he's going to slot into will be pretty decent. I think there are more impactful characters to the game. He's one that, if you find uses for him, great, but you're not always going to find them. Again, I like Dooku. I do like Dooku. I couldn't rate him any higher than where he is. The Sept tag is really where he's getting his love from here. Darth Talon is next, and she is your Sith plug and play. You slot her into any Sith team, and she's going to boost them with her unique. She's got some really interesting mechanics. I really like Darth Talon. I think she got a lot of hate when she came out, and I think she's probably one of those characters that, of them all, she's probably the one that most people can take full advantage of right away. Like Mara Jade with the Emperor, absolutely. But Darth Talon, I think, is really underrated for how impactful she is to all those different Sith teams. So I do really like Darth Talon. I think she got way too much hate early on. She just has a Sith tag, which kind of sucks. Like, it'd be great if she had the Sith Empire tag, but you put her with Darth Traya and the Sith Triumvirate. You put her with Darth Malgus. You could put her with Sith Eternal. The list goes on of how good she can be. Next up is the Armorer. And this is how highly I rate Armorer, that she's above characters who are required for Galactic Legends or Starkiller. The reason I have her there is because of her plug-and-play mentality, right? I have her here as the pacifier. Because she just babysits. She babysits every any Galactic Legend. Sith Eternal, Kylo. I've seen her with Rey before. Jedi Master Luke. You can do some really good things with the Armorer. She slots into so many different teams. Again, Mandalorians is where I think she shines with the Beskar armor, but she's that babysitter for those teams. She's somebody I really want to gear up. I just don't know when I'm going to get around to it with all the new stuff that's happening. But a fantastic character that, because of all those, because of her babysitting uses, she really deserves to be higher on the list. Because there are certain counters that are completely dependent upon her being in there to help that team. Give me one moment while I yell at Pippin here. Pippin! Stop. We're back. All right, the Sith Empire Trooper is extremely high here because of his pre-taunt. He's not a requirement for anything, but it tells you guys how valuable that Sith pre-taunt is to me. That he is one of the best pre-taunts in the game. He is so thick with Sith units. Just what a fantastic character. I love this guy. I think that he deserves all the praise for how good he is. All right, next we've got Darth Traya. I really wish I could rate her higher. Like, if her Omicron was active in every single game mode, I'd love it, but it's not. And that's what's holding her back from the top list. The thing is, she has a lot of good uses with Sith because she can dispel debuffs on her allies, right? A really good character. I love Darth Traya. I just can't really rate her any higher than this. Which brings Beskar Armor Mando next. He's got the great utility with Mandalorians, Scoundrels, and he's got one of the best ships in the game as part of that fleet. I really love Beskar Armor Mando. I think that he's... Notice everything. I'm going to try and edit that out, and if I can't figure it out, well, then you're going to have a big blank space while I go up and put Blippi on for my daughter. Yeah, so Beskar Armor Mando, the great utility here. Because of his ship, because of the uses he has, I really had to rate him higher than Darth Traya, which is a controversial shout for some, but again, him being in a fleet is just that important, and he's needed for Razor Crest Profundity. Executor. All right. Jango Fett. It's always a pleasure to talk about him. He is the plug-and-play king in terms of separatists, scoundrels, bounty hunters, Mandalorians. Fits into so many different places. One of those characters that I really think deserves hit that sometimes I think we underrate him or undersell him. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me being like biased, but I love Jango. He just is one of those great characters that with all of these different tags and all the different ways you can use him, I think he deserves the love and respect of being able to slot into those almost seamlessly, right? That you don't really notice. He doesn't, like, when you put him even with separatists, like, he still fits in really well. Like, his kit just is designed that. It's a really well-designed kit. All right, Emperor Palpatine and Bastila Shan Fallen are here. And Palpatine was tough for me because he is needed for 2 GLs. He's got a ship. The thing is that to get any good use out of him, he really needs friends. And that's the same way with Bastila Shan, that she needs her friends, right? She needs Revan. She needs Mal. Like, you don't see Bastila getting a lot of use without other friends. That she's not like a Sith that you get her and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you need those other people to take full advantage of her. And so, as I was coming up with this ranking list, I really had to like take a good hard look at these characters and say, yes, you know what? I need to rate them lower because without their friends, they're not nearly as useful. Their friends are much better. Like, in terms of the impact that they have, their friends could be better without them, in some cases. Or that their friend elevates them to the level that they're not at, right? Emperor Palpatine with like a Mara Jade or Darth Vader, and Bastila Shan with, Revan, Malak, Malgus, all that stuff. All right, Malak in the next tier above, the No Jaw Army. Malak is a great character. You can use him solo and he's impactful. You can use him as a part of a team and he's impactful. He's just one of those characters that I think elevates the entire field for me. I love Malak. I think that he is a must farm for a lot of early players because of his, even at low gear, he's a menace for a lot of people. So fantastic character. Darth Vader is here, and he should be higher, but I can't. He's got a good ship. He's needed for Galactic Legends and Executor. It's just, I think what's holding Darth Vader back, in my personal opinion, is that he's kind of lost some of his oomph against a lot of these newer teams. I think he just needs a little bit of love. I don't think it's like his kit necessarily that's the problem. He's just missing a team. Like, you want to put him with Afra now? Like, he really needs some respect. So he should be higher. I just can't. All right, next we have Maul here, right? We've got Kenobi. Sam Witwer does a much better job of that than me. But yeah, I love Maul. He's above Galactic Legend Rex because he's what makes that Lord Vader team good. And Maul is that character that leads the Mandalorians and makes them into Galactic Legend killers. I have killed plenty of Galactic Legends with Maul Mandalorians. That's how good they are. Really, really good kit. Outside of those two teams, he definitely starts to fall apart a little bit. But in those two teams, he elevates them to a level that they just simply are not at right now. And that's why I have him where he is. I just think that he deserves that. You got to put some, as you guys know, I love Chelsea, right? I love some of my soccer references for my American friends. But he's like that Jose Mourinho, like respect, man, respect. That's the way I feel about Maul. Darth Revan moved up crazy high on this list because of Leviathan. I couldn't leave him where I had him before. Maul's amazing. Darth Revan is an amazing character. He isn't a requirement for anything. And that is or I shouldn't say that. You need him to get Darth Malak, but you don't need him at high gear to get Darth Malak. The thing is, Leviathan's going to be the new meta. And he's going to be that important. So if you're somebody who doesn't have Darth Revan, start thinking about it. Because that Leviathan ship, yes, you need to be 4 million, you need Malgus, all that stuff. But he's going to be good, guys. And I would 100% recommend having Darth Revan on your team. Or in your roster. All right, next is Darth Malgus. Again, we need Omicrons for him to get use out of him in GAC. But he has revolutionized the Sith, teams. His ship as part of the Leviathan fleet is going to be amazing. The reason I have him above Darth Revan is simply because I think that Malgus will be that, he's the one that's kickstarting all of this, and I think his leadership is a little bit better than Darth Revan's, even without the Omicron ability. So, Darth Malgus taking the cake above Darth Revan there. Sith Eternal Emperor, you guys know the way I feel, but he's almost below Malgus. Not quite below Malgus because he's a Galactic Legend, and he does, Sith Eternal is very good, at beating Malgus all the time. What I'll say with Sith Eternal is he really needs a lifter unit. I've talked about when I think that could happen. For me, what I'm excited, what I love about SEE, he is a solo unit for a lot of non-Galactic Legend teams. So, he deserves that recognition for what he can do. And I think he's just like one or two characters away from being unreal in a lot of different game modes. And then we've got Lord Failure, who has been a bane of my existence with my bounty hunters in GAC lately. Even though in Territory Wars, I crush him every time. But no, I love Lord Vader. He's not as great with Sith itself, but again, this is overall ranking. He's a much better unit than Sith Eternal Emperor. In Rise of the Empire, Sith Eternal kind of struggles, where Lord Vader really excels. So I 100% think Lord Vader deserves this top slot in the Sith rankings, guys. That's just how good he is. And now it's time for our honorable mention, Wat Tambor. Guys, our man Wat, he's the babysitter for Sith Eternal. Even, long before you get Trench, you're going to use Wat and Sith Eternal together like best friends. But also, Wat is a really great character to use as an honorary Mandalorian because with Maul, he starts with Frenzy. And so if you have that Frenzy and you bring Wat Tambor in there, you pass around a tech, boom, activates Maul's Frenzy. Maul can do his AoE. Then Canderous can gain enough turn meter that he can go next, and you get the train going. That's why I have Wat Tambor as the honorary, the honorable mention for Sith and Mandalorians, because he does have those uses with both of those factions that really elevate them to, if you want to counter Galactic Legends, you need Wat Tambor in that Mandalorian squad most likely. And then with Sith Eternal, I mean, that's kind of you want to do anything with him, you need Wat Tambor. That's the list, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. As always, smash that subscribe button, leave likes, leave comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you all. Cheers.